So we watch 36 drivers, we've seen into their eyes, we have heard their thoughts, and now we watch and wait. This is Junior Rotax. Your starting lineup is as follows. Starting from pole position will be Cameron Nelson from the UK and Kasper Nissen from Denmark. Scott Marsh, the 2022 champion, and Boaz Maximov from the Netherlands on row number 2. Austria's Yvonne Simeonova and New Zealand's Marco Manson go from row number 3. 2 times a podium finisher in Minimax, Jacob Ashcroft starts row number 4 alongside Matthias Kjellerup from Denmark. Then it is Lewis Goff from the United Kingdom and Max Swiderski from the Netherlands. Tishran Wijk and Antoine Lemieux, the Netherlands and Canada, are next. Then it's Noah Janssen from Germany and Team USA's Davin Roberts. Then Tish Stevens from the Netherlands and Jeremy Roivers from Spain. Mikael Soltis from Slovakia and Fernando Paimare from Estonia are next. Shun Sekiguchi from Japan and South Africa's Luke Hill. Hope Luke's sister is watching. Then Rayan Bourguignon from France and Timur Shagadeev from Kyrgyzstan. Alois Girardet from France and Pedro Alves de Lima from Brazil on row 12. Ruben Osagura Gutierrez from Mexico and Connor Clancy from the UAE. Hello to everyone at Al Ain Raceway watching this. Simba Matoda from Japan and the youngest driver in the field, Kai Clark from the UK, starts 28th. Sweden's Axel Palmgren and France's Jules Avril round out your top 30. All the rage. Gage Korn goes from grid number 31 for Team USA alongside Thailand's Toby Gale. Lorenzo Giaquinto from Italy and Patrick Mikulik from Poland on the penultimate row, with Franisek Sulema and Panusti Mongkong, Poland and Thailand, round out this field. Kyle Lawrence, juniors always spectacular. Let's get them round safely.
Getting into the tram lines now, they're going to have to set it up as they come out of 13. You have to stay inside those tram lines until the lights go out. So keep them nice and neat in their rows. We've seen a lot of moving after that tram line when the light goes green, but they're just keeping it nice, even pace, making sure that nobody overspeeds before the lights go out. We're ready to go now. It looks like a clean start. Lights are out. We are racing across straight away, and he's taking the lead, but Nissen, unfortunately, whoa!
And just below us, the number 225 cart, that is Jules Avril into the barriers. He gets going again. There he goes. Cameron Nelson has been the nearly man of karting this year. Oh, that's one of the Japanese drivers.
Like Simba.
Simba Matoda off and over the grass. This is Cameron Nelson's chance to show the world that he's not the nearly man, he is the man. Into turn number 7 goes Nelson. Scott Marsh, a former Grand Finals champion, finished in the top 10 in this year's CIK World Championship, sits on his rear bumper. Kasper Nissen is there in third. Yvonne Simeonova, she said to Jen Wade, there's no point getting to this race and then not throwing it all on the line. She is of the scale of I'm going to win it or bin it. Here's Nissen. Nelson defending. Marsh following him through. Nissan's got a good run out of turn number 1 at the end of the first lap. The top 3 try to pull away from Simeonova in 4th. Maximov, Ashcroft, Manson, Kjellerup, Goff and Van Wijk round out your top 10.
It's all kicking off from 4th down. The drivers moving and shaking to get up higher in this line, but it's these 3 in front. Kasper Nissen, though, first sector, doesn't look to be as strong as the 2 Brits in front of him, Marsh and Nelson.
And you can see Kasper Nissen pointing forward. They say, come on, work with me, let's go. Everyone defending into turn number 7. Nobody wants to swing out wide and risk getting freight trained. Is this a tactic from Cameron Nelson? Is this something that him and his mechanic Jamie Dyer have gone through beforehand? Scott Marsh sits in second. They're all defending the inside line still. Nissen, followed by Ashcroft, who's made it up into 4th place. Maximov is now 5th. Simeonova has been shuffled back into 6th position. Oh, there's T. Stevens, the Dutchman, in car 260, out the race, but running wide. Further back in the pack, I can see T. Stevens crossing the line, virtually last. We're on lap 2, or on lap 3 now, out of 15. All 36 drivers still running. A warning flag going out for Ivan Simeonova, however.
Well, Maximov try the outside. Yes, he will. We've seen him do this before. He's got no danger on the inside. He's going for the cutback, but Ashcroft, wise to it from the previous heats. It was done to him in the pre-final, so he knows about it now in the final, and he's managed to defend that. Nissen begging Ashcroft for the assistance to get back on the front too.
Yes, indeed. Up towards turn number 12 now. Marsh, I think Cameron Nelson might be defending a little bit too much here. I think Marsh, his nose is up. Look, I'm not going to go for it. Let's work together. Cameron Nelson doesn't race with Scott Marsh that often, however. Marsh has only done a handful of Rotax races this year. He got his ticket through the Grand Festival, and here comes Casper Nissan. Marsh is squeezing him to the inside. Nissan holds on to 3rd. There is the 214, Boaz Maximov, trying to go around Jacob Ashcroft. Marco Manson for New Zealand, the Kiwi, the all-black race suit, is there in P6. Lewis Goff now up into 7th place. Another 2 Dutch. We got 3 Dutchmen in the top 10, along with 4 Brits and a Kiwi and a Canadian, Antoine Lemieux, in 10th position. There goes Antoine Lemieux, wheel to wheel with the 264 of Swiderski. And that was for 9th place, however.
You can see the gap now between Nelson and Marsh is open enough that Nelson can do his normal race line, his optimal race line. Letting Marsh push him on isn't beneficial to Nelson. It's only beneficial to Marsh. Nelson knows that, so he'd rather Marsh fight with Nissan, fight with Ashcroft, and hopefully that gives him the air that he needs, the breath of air he needs to run that optimal line and keep building a gap. But this is where it all goes away on the main straight.
I mean, I know how nervous Cameron Nelson's dad is. Cameron saying he was nervous. The fact, I'm going to say this now, the fact that Cameron was saying how nervous he was, I don't think he believes in his heart of hearts that if it comes down to a one-on-one fight between him and Marsh, that he'll get the upper hand simply because of Scott Marsh's reputation. He's got to have that self-belief. He's got to now realise this during the course of these next 10 laps. What he's trying to do is he's thinking, okay, if Scott is going to be distracted, I'm going to back everyone up, which he's doing. There's a league group of 7 now, which you could literally throw a handkerchief over them. They're that close together. Psychology, we've talked about it lots, Kyle Lawrence. Psychology of racing. Oh, Nelson on the anchors. Nissan now gets squeezed wide, and Casper Nissen falls back behind Boaz Maximov and Jacob Ashcroft. It's now a British 1, 2, 3, and look at Ashcroft trying to go round the outside. Now he crosses over to the inside. Nissen and Swiderski and Maximov, wheel to wheel. Oh, look how close that is. And I think Nissan might. Oh, and Scott Marsh just tips into the back of Cameron Nelson. They both run wide. Marsh outbraked himself, and Jacob Ashcroft leads the Grotax Grand Finals.
Nelson was trying to distract Marsh. Unfortunately, Marsh got a little bit too distracted, missed his braking point, and the 2 of them have dropped off. But Nelson didn't lose all that much. He's down to 4th. He can work his way back up from there. We've seen the pace he's got. Maximov isn't going to let Ashcroft lead, though.
No, he's not. He's got Maximov now has to go on max attack. You can see Ashcroft leading. This is lap number 6 out of 15. Maximov. Lewis Goff up to 3rd position. Hardly mentioned. Oh, Manson and the number 245. That is the 245 is Alois Girardet side by side. Antoine Lemieux is moving up as well. Now on board with Casper Nissan briefly. He is in 6th position. It's Ashcroft leading from Maximov. Lewis Goff, we've hardly mentioned his name this week. That's the perfect tactic. He now moves into 3rd place when it matters the most. Nelson is 4th. Cameron Nelson is not out of this one yet. 5th is Van Wyk. Then it's Nissen, Swiderski, Lemieux, Girardet. Simeonova is 10th. What has happened to Scott Marsh? The answer is he's dropped to 19th. It will not be a repeat for Scott Marsh. Looking down the order, Gage Corn has gained 7 places. So has Lorenzo Giacinto. So has Patrick Mikulik. The biggest mover of all, though, is Alois Girardet. Kyle Lawrence, what's going on?
Nelson has a small error into the final corner. Didn't quite see all of it, but he's dropped well down now. He's into 7th behind the second group. Looking at the front group, Maximov telling Ashcroft, let's work together. He knows Goff is coming, and there is Goff now into 2nd.
Ivan Simeonova and Marco Manson have had a coming together. Austria, and there is Manson. And we've got the rear bumper of another kart there out there. Manson is out. Simeonova, I think, is still running. That rear bumper was that off the number 245 kart of Alois Girardet. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Here we go. It's the UK 1st and 2nd, the Netherlands 3rd and 4th. Gabby and Ton Vandenberg from Chrono Karting are here watching. They've got 3 Dutch drivers in the top 6. We got 3 British drivers in the top 7. And we got Casper Nissan for Denmark. Let me tell you a statistic about Denmark. They won't want to hear this. Denmark have more grand finals podiums without a victory than any other nation, and that's not going to go well for Nissan, who gets shuffled wide. The freight train, Lemieux, Nelson, and that is Sadursky come flying through.
Yeah, we've now split into 2 groups. They were just getting into 1, and they've split it up into 2. But these 4, we see the center helmet there of Maximov. If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you are no longer a racing driver. Maximov looking for that gap. He's saying to Van Wyk, let's go, boy. Let's push forward and try and move up the field. It's 2 British versus 2 Dutch drivers in the front at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Denmark, 4 second-place finishes, 3 third-place finishes, never a victory. I want to say hi to Christian Sorensen, a former podium finish for Denmark. I hope Christian is doing well. I've heard he's not been well lately, but hopefully he is on the mend. Now Nelson and Lemieux and the 222 kart of Casper Nissan. There is Nissan. We move on to lap 10 out of 15. They've got to get their heads down and go behind this group. Francisco Paimare from Estonia. Alois Girardet from France is still there. We're trying to see who has gone out of the race. Marco Manson. Everyone is still out there. Technical flag though for 245 Alois Girardet. It was his rear bumper. So Alois Girardet will become the first retirement of this race. Ashcroft from Goff, from Maximov. Goff and Maximov communicating, Kyle. They have to work together. This is Great Britain versus the Netherlands.
This is where the setup of the kart starts to matter. You're 10 laps into a 15-lap race. You haven't done a race this long yet this weekend. The heat is there. Have you got your tire pressures right to switch on? Maximov, though, going for the move. He does have more pace than Goff at the moment. So this is good for the race. We can hopefully see more people up in the front to race for the win.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're on to lap number 11. Out of our commentary box window, I can see, I think I can see that Jag Rotax's Gary Shield consoling Oliver Spencer's parents after their earlier race. I think Gary might want to turn round and have a look over the barrier, because another one of his drivers is now just 4 laps away from a Grand Finals victory, which would be the 18th for Team UK. But 4 laps here at Sarno is an awfully long time indeed.
These 3 now settling down, getting into rhythm. They're using optimal line to try and catch Ashcroft, but Ashcroft built that gap up already to 0.9 of a second over the last lap. Let's see if they've closed that down at all in this lap that Maximov's been leading. Van Wyk down the inside of Goff. He's managed to make that move stick. Nice, good move. Open the back wheel up onto him as he got on the brakes. And that is done and dusted for him. They can now get their heads down. The 2 Dutch trying to work together to get back onto the front. Ashcroft looks behind him to see the gap he's got. He knows the gap he's got.
Biggest movers in the race so far. All the rage. Gage Corn up from 31st to 20th. Panusti and Monkong from 36th to 25th. But the biggest mover of them all is the youngest driver in this class, 12 years and 2 months old, Kai Clark has gained 15 places, and he's on the verge of a place in the top 15, top 12 rather, as the Dutch are tripping over themselves, and Jacob Ashcroft is disappearing.
Yeah, these three have given up on trying to make the catch. They only brought a 10th back in the previous lap. It's now up to 1.3. So Ashcroft, all on his own, bar the shout. Hopefully, you know, that cart stays together for the next 3 laps.
Now, I know, well, I have to say this. Jacob's dad, Barry Ashcroft, he said that he's been dieting, he's been a bit low on energy. I hope he saved enough energy to get his lungs full, because Jacob, the driver from Western Supermare, is 1.8 seconds up the road. There he is. 2022 second in Minimax. 2023 third in Minimax. This year, they decided they weren't going to do the British Championship. They were going to just concentrate on racing overseas. He finished third in the Euro Series. Had to get his ticket through the BNL Karting Championship, which he won. And now after not starting one of his heat races, he has driven his way into contention.
Oh, Maximov drops a wheel.
Yep, Maximov drops a wheel, Kyle.
3 into 1, doesn't go there. They were 3 wide. Goff was the winner, major winner there. He came out in front of this group in second. But Van Wyk looking very racy at the moment. He wants that second place. Will we see Maximov, though, get back to it? Nelson looking hungry there. You can see the mistakes made in front of him. He can move himself up the field. We've got 2 laps left to go this race. And Ashcroft up to 2.3 seconds. He's gapped it.
Well, I do hope we got a camera near the grandstand to watch the parental reactions from this one. You're looking at the battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. You can hardly see the leader. Jacob Ashcroft, now is your time, young man. Now is your time. He got his first ticket in 2020. He got a prize drive to race in the International Trophy at Portimao that year. He won it. Then the grand finals were cancelled due to COVID. He thought he wouldn't come back. He starts his last lap now. He's got 2 podiums. He's got a third, a second. He is 1,500 meters away from doing it. And Goff and Nelson moving to second and third, ahead of Van Wyk and Maximov. Nissan is there as well, but they're all trailing a long way behind. This driver, this young man, Jacob Ashcroft. Kyle Lawrence, what a performance.
6 corners left to go. The panic, I'm sure, is setting in. He's just trying to keep it as neat and tidy as possible. No need to push. 3.9 seconds
There's
is the
Barry
gap.
watching. There's Barry Ashcroft watching. He's watching his son. He can't take his eyes off him. But there's only 3 corners to go. Make that 3 corners now. Make that 2 corners to go. Make it 1 corner to go, as Jacob Ashcroft is a grand finals champion, and that is what it means. That's what it means. There he is. He cannot believe it. And that's Henry Korn congratulating Barry. Barry Ashcroft was told I will tell the story. Barry Ashcroft was told a couple of years ago, if you don't lose weight, you will not be around to see your son do just that. He has worked so hard for himself, his family, his son, and his son has just become a grand finals champion. He's got a big heart. Sometimes he's got a big mouth. But no one, and he's a very, very popular figure. When you meet Barry Ashcroft, you know you met him. And to his mum, to Jacob's mum, Louise, watching back home, there you go. Oh, and Jacob wins it by nearly 5 seconds. In the midst of all that, Team UK have just swept the podium with Lewis Goff and Wales' Cameron Nelson rounding out your top 3. Boaz Maximov, Tish Van Wyk for the Netherlands, 4th and 5th. Scott Marsh recovers to 6th. Casper Nissan 7th, Max Swiderski 8th, Fernando Plaimare and Antoine Lemieux. Great Britain now move ahead of Estonia as the most successful nation in junior Rotax Grand Finals history. What a drive from Kai Clark. Kai Clark's year started in the worst way.